Dombey, exulting in the long-looked-for event, jingled and jingled the heavy gold watch chain that depended from below his trim blue coat. A son, Mrs. Dombey, a son. The house will once again, said Mr. Dombey, be not only in name but in fact Dombey and Son. Dombey and Son. Those three words conveyed the one idea of Mr. Dombey's life. The earth was made for Dombey and Son to trade in, and the sun and moon were made to give them light. Rivers and seas were formed to float their ships. Winds blew for or against their enterprises. Stars and planets circled in their orbits to preserve inviolate a system at which they were the centre. Dombey and Son. Papa, what's money? Mr. Dombey was in a difficulty. He would like to give him some explanation involving currency, depreciation of currency, rates of exchange and so on, but looking down at the little chair and seeing what a long way down it was, he answered, gold and silver and bronze, guineas, shillings, halfpennies, you know what they are. Oh yes, I know what they are. I didn't mean that. I mean, Papa, what is money after all? What is money after all? Said Mr. Dombey, backing his chair a little, that he might the better gaze in sheer amazement at the presumptuous atom who propounded such an inquiry. I mean, Papa, what could it do? Returned Paul, folding his arms and looking at the fire. Mr. Dombey drew his chair back. You'll know better by and by, my boy. Money, my son, can do anything. And he took hold of the little hand. But the child put his hand free as soon as he could, and rubbing it gently to and fro on the elbow of the chair, as if his wit were in the palm and he was sharpening it, and looking at the fire again, as though the fire had been his adviser and prompter, repeated after a short pause. If money can do anything, I wonder it didn't save my mamma. It can't make me strong and quite well either. I'm so tired sometimes, and my bones ache so that I don't know what to do. At length, Dombey Senior resolved to make a change and enrolled little Dombey as a student in Dr. Blimber's establishment for young gentlemen. Whenever a young gentleman was taken in hand by Dr. Blimber, he might consider himself sure of a pretty tight squeeze. The doctor only undertook the charge of 10 young gentlemen, but he had always ready a supply of learning for 100, and it was at once the business and delight of his life to gorge the unhappy 10 with it. The doctor was a portly gentleman in a suit of black with strings at his knees and stockings below them. He had a bald head, highly polished, a deep voice, and a chin so very double it was a wonder how he ever managed to shave into the creases. Dr. Blimber leered at little Dombey, as if he would like to have tackled him with the Greek alphabet on the spot.
Shall we make a man of him? Shall we make a man of him?
And there, in Dr. Blimber's establishment for young gentlemen, the studies went round like a mighty wheel, and the young gentlemen were always stretched upon it. Once, when there was a pause in the dancing, A lady told Paul that he seemed very fond of music. Paul replied that he was, and that if she was too, she ought to hear his sister Florence sing. Florence was at first very frightened at being asked to sing before so many people, but on little Dombey calling to her, "Do, Floy, please, for me, my dear," she began. Paul saw her sitting alone, so young and good and beautiful and kind to him. And when he heard her thrilling voice, so natural and sweet, and such a golden link between himself and all his life's love and happiness rising out of the silence, he turned his face away and hid his tears. Not as he told them that the music was too plaintive or too sorrowful, but that it was so very dear to him.